Welcome to the Total R&B Podcast. My name is Loreena, and today I have a singer, songwriter, and producer who is blending different genres together like Afrobeats, pop, and of course R&B. And he's here on the podcast today to talk about his journey in music, and also his singles that he has out now, Rodeo and ATL2LA. Welcome to the podcast, Darius Martin. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a blessing to just wake up today and be on a show with you guys. So thank you.
Of course, amen to that. Waking up, seeing another day. I always start my podcast off the same way. I ask the same question. So what comes to mind when I say, what is your first memory of R&B music?
My first memory of R&B music would be Babyface's album Grown and Sexy on my little iPod Nano that I had with no screen on it. My parents had got me years ago. I had the little speaker you could plug into it too back in the day, man. Dude, that's crazy. Man, you just brought back so many memories I forgot I had for a second. That's wild.
What about the little iPod Nanos? Those
Yeah, the little
things.
nanos and everything without the screens on them. That was
Oh
my
my gosh.
favorite.
Yeah, that is so funny because I used to work in it's like the Canadian version of Best Buy.
That's
And
dope.
so I always saw when like the latest like MP3s and like iPods came
Yup.
out, and I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah, I
So,
remember when we had CD players walking around.
right? And
I'm
hopefully it didn't
just
start
holding them.
skipping.
Yeah, exactly. Hope your CD ain't got no scratches on it, nothing like that.
Exactly. Wow. And then Babyface, that's a legend. So,
Yeah,
to have that as your choice of music on your iPod, that's super cool.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
And so what other music did you grow up listening to besides Babyface?
Babyface, Metallica, Prince, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye, Justin Timberlake, Timberlane, man, country music, Luke Bryan, and just a lot actually. Because my mom was Hispanic and black, my dad's black and Native American, so I had a good mix of just hip hop, R&B, EDM, just all different types of music. It was never like a And that's for me, like that's why my music is so genreless because I grew up listening to so much stuff. I never felt like I wanted to put myself in a box of like I'm just an R&B singer, or I'm just a rapper, or I'm just that. Like I wanted to be just an artist, just making good music for people. So yeah,
I love that. Because usually when I talk to like Canadian artists, like we'll listen to a lot of different things because here we don't have like a radio station dedicated to hip hop and R&B.
yeah,
I think there's one or two in Toronto. The rest of the country, we got to catch our hour here and there on certain
exactly.
stations.
Yeah,
So for the most part, if we're in the car and the radio's on, we're listening to a whole plethora of different music, you
yeah.
know?
No, I'm
So
already
it's
know.
so cool.
And it helps. It helps, stay creative and stay outside of the box that certain genres may be itself. So yeah.
I love that. And so I was reading, you used to play sports when you were younger.
Yes.
So what made you do that pivot to go from sports into music?
So when I was in high school, I ended up getting diagnosed with Crohn's disease, which is an inflammatory disease in your intestines. And I'd only gone to school for the first 15 days of the first semester. So they were like, you're gonna have to take all your classes again next year, basically. And they were trying to make me basically do my junior year twice, but I ended up going there my senior year, doing my junior and senior year classes the next year at the same time. Graduated, got an academic scholarship, went to college in Ohio, and I tried out for the basketball team because that's all I've known my whole life. But by that time, all the medicines that I was on because of the Crohn's disease started affecting my joints and just everything that I was doing in the sports world. So I just couldn't move the same. I couldn't, ball like I used to anymore. I didn't make the team, but that same day that I didn't make the team, my boy was making beats on his laptop on a on GarageBand. And I was sitting there like, yo, what are you doing? He's like, yo, I'm on GarageBand right now. I'm like, you making a beat? He's like, yeah, it's on every MacBook. I'm like, you know what? Let me go to my room real quick and see what's popping. So I went back to my room. My first beat was trash, mind you, but I just knew like that's what I wanted to do with my life. Like that creativeness, the love that I felt for music was like the love that I felt for sports when I first picked up my first basketball or my first golf club, you know what I mean? So it was just another passion that God had put in my life. So it was just an amazing experience. Of course I hurt when I didn't make the team, but it was all part of God's plan for me.
No, of course. And I know like saying that story, like we see the other side of it, but I know that probably was a really tough time
It was
for
rough.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
growing up doing nothing but sports since I was 3 years old and then not being able to do it anymore it was depressing. It took a lot out of
Hmm.
me to get back into just normal day life and hitting the gym and going out with my friends. Like it was tough for a few months after that.
No, I bet I could definitely like relate to that because I had an operation when I was really young and I had to stop doing ballet and that was like my world back then.
Exactly.
So I definitely understand that, like losing something that you dedicated so many hours to, and you were probably like
Blood, sweat, and
obsessed with
tears.
basketball.
Yep, I'm already knowing. So yeah, it was rough, but God always has a plan for us. So we may not see it in the moment and when we're going through it, but when I look back on it now, I'm like, I see why this happened the way that it did because you were trying to protect me from whatever it may be and take me down a different path that you wanted me to go down. So, I'm just putting it in God's hands and leaving it there. Let go,
Definitely.
so
So now that you switched over to music, like what do you feel your purpose is now?
just bringing people together, creating more of a positive light in this world because there's a lot of darkness. There's a spiritual warfare that we really are in right now that a lot of people I don't think are hip to. They're not really conscious of what's really going on around us outside of this realm. But I feel like God really placed me here to just shed light on that, shed knowledge that I've acquired on this journey that I've taken, and just help as many people along the way as I can. Because that's all we're here to do is just serve each other.
Feel that, and definitely too, especially because like in your upbringing, you were surrounded by so much different music, and you blend the different genres together. That's probably just attracting so much more people to your music. You're bringing
Exactly.
more people together that probably, wouldn't necessarily listen to a certain genre.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
Definitely feel that. And so you do a bit of everything because you did mention how you did start making beats, but I read that you produce, you mix, you master, and you write your own music.
Yeah. So when I
Wow.
first started, that's why I started working with a team because it was so time consuming and it took so much out of me to write the song, make the beat, mix and master it, produce it, get on the websites and start uploading them to the DSPs and that and the marketing and the promotions. Like I was doing everything all at once, doing the music videos. I would just take certain clips and put them together from my phone. Like I learned how to do everything so that when I do work with other people, I know what they can and can't do it. I know how far they can take it to certain degrees and levels and stuff like that. So I'm never missing out on like if the engineer doesn't know how to do certain things in the studio, then I can help him do that real quick and then go back into the booth and finish what I need to do. But nonetheless, I do enjoy the collaborations with other people because you just never know what other people are going to bring out of you in the sessions.
No,
Yeah.
definitely. And then speaking of collaborations, because you collab more than once with Cool and Dre. So
Yes.
how did you connect with them and what's it like working with them in the studio?
So the first time I met Cool and Dre, my manager at the time had introduced us. I went to Miami. We had a writing camp. It's the first time I ever met him. They had heard a couple of my songs. They're like, "Yeah, we want to work with you." I was like, "Cool." So I went out there. We made like 6 songs in 4 days, and then I think 4 or 5 of these records are actually on the album. So they have a lot to do with the album, the creation of it. I went down there a couple months ago. They helped me with another couple songs that they didn't even produce because they were just so invested in just me and just the music itself and what I'm trying to accomplish with this. So it's been amazing. I got nothing but good things to say about Cool and Dre and their whole team they got over there, man. There's some true legends through and through, God fearing people, just wonderful man to be around. So it's always good when I see them. He actually came to LA not too long ago. We went to Javier's. So Cool's my boy, man. I love him.
No, that's dope. And it's good when you find people that you can work with. Like there's like a connection there. It kind of
Yes.
just flows.
The chemistry in the studio it's real. It's real.
No, I love that. I think that's so important and I'm always happy when people find like their people
Exactly.
that they
Nah, for
connect
real.
with and
You
things
got your
work out.
family, but you also got, the family that you create while you're on this earth. That's your soul family. And I feel like
No,
that's probably
definitely.
sometimes more important than your blood family.
No, it's true. It's definitely true. And then also too, you were at the LA Film Institute, right?
Yes.
So has that helped you in any way with your career? Because sometimes, we go to these different schools thinking like all of that theory and everything is going to help, but sometimes it's not it. It's more like
Yeah.
hands-on experience.
It helped me a lot. When I went to the film school, I had a lot of teachers that were already in the industry and giving me knowledge on contracts and point systems of royalties and stuff like that. So they taught me a lot of the business side of things because when I went to the film school, I already started producing, and I felt like that gave me an edge because I didn't learn music theory before I could make music. So
Yeah.
I was making stuff. I wasn't necessarily following the rules that everybody else follows when they go through music theory first, and then they start producing and going through all this. So it was more experimental for me, and that's why all my music is kind of different. I like to not necessarily play in the rules that they have for music theory. Like you got to stay in this key here and that key there. But when you're just doing it and you don't know and it just sounds good to you, you're just doing it. You know what I mean? So it helps a lot with the business side of things. But if I
Okay.
didn't know music theory, I mean, if I didn't know how to produce, then obviously that would have been another key thing that I learned there too. But it did help me sharpen my tools. I met a lot of people that were lawyers and filmmakers and songwriters, and you just, being in these industries and in these schools, it's really more about networking than anything, and making sure that you're taking that aspect into it. Because we had studio time and everything, and then about a few months before I had graduated, COVID had happened, so I didn't get back into the studios and stuff like that. But it was nice the times that I did get to the studio because there was people that had never got to the studio sessions because the COVID had happened, and then everything just kind of went downhill from there.
Yeah. No, that was really tough.
Yeah, for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm doing music school and making songs with people from across, the street on my laptop. Like this is kind of crazy to me, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
Exactly. That's the thing. We had to make it work during that time.
Exactly.
So,
Everybody did.
yeah, definitely. And so, because you mentioned you learned a lot of the business side when going to the school, is that what pushed you to start your own company with your father?
Yes. And then meeting a lot of people that had horror stories of, oh, I worked with this label and they took this from me and then I got to pay this back and that and this and blah, 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 blah. And I don't even own my master's. Like hearing all these stories, I was like, maybe I should just start my own thing and go from there and just keep pushing. And if they come, they come. If they don't, then I still own everything and go from there. So, but yeah, it made me started a label with my pops and everything, and then I'm actually one of the songwriters I've been working with. He's actually an artist too, and I've been thinking about signing him lately. So be on the lookout for more artists coming from Nice Room Entertainment. We got a lot of cool things coming out for you guys this couple years, man. So be ready for it.
That's dope. And how did you get your father to be involved with that?
So I was already making music, and then one day he had heard one of my songs, and he was like, we should get back in the studio and remix this and get it popping. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then like we kind of just we messed around for a little bit with like a couple other producers and this person, that person, whatever. But then we had to sit down and he was just like, I think maybe we should just start our own label instead of trying to go to these other labels and trying to get whatever it is from them. Like, why don't we just do it ourselves? And I said, let's get it, man. He goes, one of his wishes actually, before we even started this, he had told me that he wanted to always be a part of breaking an artist and like breaking a label and stuff like that. He's like, it's always been a dream of mine. I never wanted to be the artist, but I wanted to help get them to that point. And he goes, the fact that I get to do it with my son now is just, it's amazing. So like, it's just a blessing come true. And I never thought I'd be an artist. Like, honestly, I never saw myself singing because I was always so shy growing up. But now it's just like, I can't imagine life without doing this anymore. So we both got to live our dreams out.
Yeah, no, I think that's super cool that now he's living out his dream, which he
Hmm.
probably didn't think it was going to be possible,
Oh
you
yeah.
know?
And he had a
So,
rap group back in the day. Man,
really?
and he knows how to play the drums. He be hitting the drums. So I was like, man. And then Fill My Cup, he's actually on some of the background vocals. So he is on the album that's coming out.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, listen out for my pops on Fill My Cup, background vocals.
Yeah, no, I gotta listen to it again, and I'm gonna hear that. That's so cool. I love hearing stories like that. So that's
Appreciate you.
amazing. And so taking on this this journey of having your own record label and then also being an artist too. So what's maybe one of the biggest lessons that you've learned so far?
Trust yourself. Trust your intuition. If if you feel like something is not right, it probably isn't. If you feel like God is telling you to go down a different path, he probably is. If you think that the people around you aren't necessarily the best for you, trust in that, because trusting your intuition will get you so much further than having knowledge from a book that you learned in a classroom 10 years ago will ever get you. That life experiences, and trust, just do it. Don't be scared. Even if you are scared, do it while you're scared, because at the end of the day, we're all just here to learn. We're all here to grow. We're all here to figure out our purpose in life and go from
Yeah.
there.
No,
And
definitely. And it even goes back to what you were saying, like not really being like pigeonholed to do just one
exactly,
thing. You get to explore, you get to, blend all the genres that you love together and
exactly.
try different things. And it reminds me of like Pharrell, because Pharrell will do like some crazy stuff. And
Yes.
maybe people might not get it at first, but
And
then
then it
after
keeps
they're like, yo,
a
I
couple
messed
years
with it.
later. It always happens. Sometimes I've noticed it takes somebody to tell people that it's cool for them to realize that it was cool all along.
Yep.
And that's happened so many times throughout my career when it's like I played a song for somebody and they're like, "Oh, this is dope," whatever, like kind of brush it off. Then they'll know somebody that I know and they'll play that song for them again. They're like, "No, you gotta listen to this, blah 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 blah. How he did it right here, blah, blah." And then they come back like, "Yo, you killed it, blah blah blah. You got the greatest song, blah blah blah." And it's like it's because somebody told you that it was cool, huh? This
Hmm.
whole time, like I was trying to tell you 6 months ago when I was doing it in the studio with me, but now you got to find out from somebody else, and now suddenly it's cool again. So it's just trust yourself. You know what I mean? You can't listen to what everybody says because the moment you listen to somebody else's opinion of your song, you're looking at it through their eyes, not yours, not what you did with the song. You're looking at it from their perspective of why they feel like they don't like it necessarily as much as you would. So you got to just listen to you and God.
No, definitely. No, even me for like some songs, I'll listen to it and I'll be like, but then six
Mhm.
months later, I'm like, yo, I was tripping like
And I've
this.
done the same thing. I'm guilty of it too. I get it.
Yeah, so definitely artists, creatives, trust yourself.
Trust yourself.
Yeah, you know what's gonna work.
Yes.
Definitely. And speaking of trusting yourself and being authentically you, you have some new songs that are out this year. First, I want to talk about Rodeo that you put out. It's such a good song. So, what sparked the idea for this? How did this all come together?
I made that song in Miami. I was with Cool and Dre, and we were all sitting there, and I came to the studio in a cowboy hat that day. And me and my boy Kanan we were talking. He's like, "Man, we had just made Fill My Cup, I think like a day or two before that. So we're sitting there talking, chopping it up about the next song that we're gonna work on. And we just started talking about cowboys, and he's like, "Where you from?" I'm like, "Oh, this and that, blah blah blah." And he's like, "You ever been to rodeo?" I was like, "I used to go to rodeo all the time, like with my friends back in the day, like in New Mexico, they have rodeo pretty much almost for all the fairs and stuff." So I'm sitting there and he's like, "Yo, what if we make a song like that?" And I'm like, "Oh, I think you're onto something." So we sat there and we started writing it out. We went into the booth. Rodeo actually didn't even have a drums on it when I first recorded the song. So the song itself was just the synth, the instruments, and my vocals on top. And then Cool and Dre heard it. He was like, "Yo, wait, let me go ahead and just work on this real quick." So we come back the next day. He had put some 808s on it. He put the drums on it. I'm like, "Yo, this is fire." Like, well, hold up, man. This is crazy. So then we sat there. I sat on that song for almost a year before I dropped it. So I just wasn't sure about the timing and everything. And then it came out and went to South by Southwest, had my cowboy hat on the whole weekend and it was singing it to everybody. They was going crazy. That song it's got such a place in my heart, for sure. It reminds me of where I come from. It reminds me of home, you know what I mean? But also being that country's cowboy in my heart, but I'm still out here in these big cities of LA and New York and stuff like that. So it's my little piece of home that I get to bring to everywhere that I go.
And you just mentioning like sitting on that song for 1 year before putting it out. Like, there's a lot of talk with artists holding back putting out their music. So you were saying like timing, but are there other reasons as to why you might want to like not put something out and you wait to release
S-
it?
Sometimes it just doesn't feel right. Like nobody wants to listen to cuddly, lovey-dovey, cuddle weather songs in the summertime. They're trying to dance, they're trying to turn up, they're trying to get lit, you know what I mean? So when that song came out, it was a little cooler um outside. It was more wintertime, a little more moody and everything like that. So I'd like to drop songs based on the time of year it is, what the fans are talking about, how I'm feeling myself. There's been songs that I wanted to drop and I changed my mind because like it doesn't feel right to put it out quite yet because I don't want to offend nobody or hurt their feelings because of the lyrics or something like that. But it's it's all it just really depends on as the artist, it's how you feel and how your team feels about the music at the time. So yeah.
And also too with your music, like you touch on like different type of topics. You don't just stay to like, one thing, you're not always doing lovey-dovey songs, you're covering a range of topics. So, um, what inspires you to do that and be vulnerable also in your music? Because I don't know, I feel like that's tough to do.
It's therapy for me. What I don't what I don't speak on in my life with my people around me, I'll put it into my music. But I
Okay.
feel like it's too vulnerable and too emotional for me to talk about with certain people out and about, you know what I mean? Like my friends or family and stuff like that. I'll make a song about it and then put it out to the world. Because I know at the end of the day, I'm not the only person going through what I'm going through. And if I can make art to help somebody else get through whatever they're going through, then I've already won in life like that. You know what I mean? So, because at the end of the day, we're all here to serve each other. That's all I'm here to do. Is just be a vessel for the pain or the hurt or the guilt or the happiness that I'm feeling. I'm just a vessel for God to shine through me and help somebody else get through what they're going through. So,
Of course. And I also want to talk about ATL2LA, which is another song you put out not too long ago. Let us know about ATL2LA.
so ATL2LA is a song about. I literally wrote that song on the plane from Atlanta flying back to LA.
Okay.
We had wrote some of the melodies in the studio session in Atlanta. I met the producers out there and everything, Six Element. And then when we made that song, we had a first studio session that night. Actually, the engineer had fallen asleep. So we're sitting there and he fell asleep. And I'm like, I'm just going to finish this song tomorrow. I got a flight back to LA anyways. They give me time to write it and whatever. So I get on the plane. I start writing the lyrics to it. I'm like, ATL, flying to LA. Because that was already a freestyle on the song. But I'm like, how can I tie this into like just my whole experience that I just had right now? And I was like, all right, bet. So it was just me on the song at first. And then I hit my A&R up, Earl Johnson, and he's like, we need somebody from Atlanta on there. Because he's like, you're not necessarily from LA. So you live in LA now, but you're not born in LA. And you're not from Atlanta either. So I feel like we might need somebody from Atlanta or LA on there, but Atlanta just feels like more of the vibe. And I was like, you know what? All right, bet. So then we went to the studio with Lil Got It. He wrote his verse in like 45 minutes, like just, I was like, oh, damn, he's going crazy. I was like, this is crazy. All right. Me and my engineer in there, and then he was just him and his engineer. And then Young Thug had pulled up that day, and all his kids had walked in the studio, and he's dapping them up, and I'm saying, what's up? I'm like, yo, what up, everybody? I'm like, this is crazy. But I listen to Thug like most of my childhood, you know what I mean? Because it's always been popping like that. So it was an amazing experience to just be in his studio and hanging out with Lil Got It. And so I used to listen to Lil Key growing up too. So it's just like, man, this is crazy to just be in this environment right now for me. It was nuts. But that song was a blessing, you know what I mean? So it's been out a few weeks now, a couple weeks, and it's been
Yeah,
going
I
up.
think it came out the end of June.
Yeah, June 25th.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's it. No, but both singles, they're really good.
And I
Adding
appreciate
them to my playlist. So I was happy I got put onto your music. So now I'm a
appreciate
fan.
you. That's love. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'm
No,
a fan of you too, doing your thing out here. Okay, I see you. Hey, hey, hey.
thank you so much.
I appreciate
I
you.
also wanted to know too, because you get high praise. Like I look at the comments of for like social media, the different interviews that you did, the way like journalists are describing your music and your voice and everything. So, um, what do you hope your legacy is in music?
That I set a standard and the next generation sets it even higher than that. That we create more meaningful, more conscious music that empowers our people and doesn't degrade them.
Yeah, no, I love that. I'm definitely here for that. Definitely. Um, I think we need more of that too, that like positive music where we're
Yes.
not, talking bad about each other or,
Exactly.
getting
There's
irritated.
just the negativity right now in the game is just it's a lot. It's a lot. And it's a lot to deal with in the spiritual realm of just life right now.
Hmm.
Music is one of the only things that doesn't need permission to enter your soul. And if we're making negative music all the time, then we're gonna be some negative people. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
it falls back on us as artists and us as creatives to set the standard and live up to it and to make the next generation live up to that and be even better than we did. Because that's all we can do is try to make everything that comes after us be better than we were. Because if
No,
your kids aren't doing, what they're supposed to be doing, then I feel like we failed as parents. We failed as a generation of of adults.
No, of course. And hopefully people are watching, the blueprint that you're setting out, because I think you're doing such a great thing because you're not being pressured to put out a certain type of music or message, you kind
Exactly.
of do what you want, what's on your
Yeah.
heart. So I think that's really important. So hopefully more artists are who are coming up are looking at what you're doing, you and your father, and follow that way. Or maybe sign to your label.
We love it. We love the like-minded people. Shoot, I'm signing them all if I can. Shoot.
See, exactly. I love that. Is there anything else that we as fans can look forward to this year? Is there going to be like an EP, a mixtape, something that's
The
coming out, or are we going to keep it with the
album.
singles?
So the album is coming out right now that I'm working on. It should be out next month if everything goes as planned. August is the date that I'm supposed to be dropping. I do have
Okay.
another single for you guys coming out this month, so stay ready for that one. I'm waiting on the clearance for it right now. It's some back and forth talk with the labels and everything, but I'm really excited for this one. It's another summer banger. It's gonna be a dance song. It's more in my rapping bag a little bit. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it's just good vibes. As soon as you guys hear it, you're gonna know exactly what song it's sampled from. So I'm not even gonna
Okay.
tell you what it is right now. But when it comes out, be ready for it.
Okay. Okay. So I'm excited for the new music. I'm excited for the album that's coming out next month. So we need to stay locked in. So tell us how we can follow you if this is the first time that you're seeing or hearing Darius Martin.
You can tap in with me on Apple Music, Spotify, all those at Darius Martin. That's my actual name. And on social media, it's Darius Martin Official. That's my handle for everything. So Darius Martin Official, Darius Martin on all the Spotify's and everything like that. Tap in with your boy. Let's get it.
Thank you so much for taking
No,
time
thank
out to
you.
speak to me.
Of course.
Again, I appreciate it. For everyone that's listening and watching, this is the Total R&B Podcast. My name is Loreena, and you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at total.rnb, and I'll be back with a brand new interview.
Yeah.